Alrighty guys, welcome back to Learning Fives. My name is Blasterboy and I am joined by Epic Death Guy, and we are going to be casting this EU show match between Team Reverse Boosting and Team Eternal. We're already here into Champ Select. Hate to cut off Pentakill, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. We have to get into the match eventually here, and we are already seeing some bans come out pretty quickly, namely the Rengar and Camille taken off the table.
Yeah, so these are the OP bans from the 7.2 patch. However, both of them have been nerfed on the 7.3 patch, which we are currently playing on. So the bans aren't required, but the players feel that they are still strong. And both teams have agreed not to do target bans this game.
Yeah.
So we will not see any bans for specific players, only generalized bans that are meta.
Did not unmute on stream there. Yeah, that is pretty much par for a course. It looks like there may have been some issue. The ban, potentially? Yeah, the second ban was just completely missed by Team Reverse Boosting, who is taking up the blue side, by the way, with Team Eternal on red for this first game. It's just a best of two, so it is just 2 games, and the teams will swap for the next one. And yeah, that'll be it. You guys should know the drill pretty much by now. This is the last week of the show matches for the session, and well, we are seeing some pretty consistent bans throughout this session, as LeBlanc and Zyra are both 2 staples that have stuck around for these past few weeks pretty consistently.
Yeah, and already on the blue side, we see the Ashe prioritized, which is quite strange considering the meta that we currently have with lethality ADCs, the Varus, the Jhin, and opting into the Ashe for the utility is going to mean that they're not going to have that early game, mid game damage, but they are going to have some safety and CC for their team comp.
Yeah, and definitely something that is valuable in this current point in the meta. If you go down the list of the most popular ADCs, you're going to see Ashe, Jhin, and Varus, not in that exact order, but they're all pretty high up there. Utility ADCs seem to be pretty strong, but pretty much evenly matched by those lethality stacking ADCs, Jhin and Varus, of course, both being some of them as well, but Misfortune also kind of coming back in the meta, especially here in Learning Fives. We've seen her in the past 2 weeks in the actual ADC position. But to talk more about this game at hand, Nautilus and Kha'Zix are both picked up here for Team Eternal as their first 2 lock-ins, and it seems like we're mostly going to be seeing these picks, well, at least from Team Eternal, come in the order that they will be using them.
Yeah, Team Eternal, their jungler, Devour, plays a lot of champions, and Rengar, sadly banned away, is one of his most popular champions, but the Kha'Zix is one of the nice fallback picks that is very similar to the Rengar, as he can assassinate and pick out targets very well.
Yeah.
And they didn't know this, but actually going into it, Dusty Marshmallow is also a Kha'Zix player. He plays Ivern and Kha'Zix, so that's going to force him to go to his only other pick in the jungle, really, as Ivern. But now they have even more safety for their Ashe, who, if you see their team composition, Team Reverse Boosting has a lot of CC. So it's going to be pretty hard to get onto that Ashe and Ahri, the backline.
Yeah, certainly a lot to go through, and this Trundle and Braum just continue to secure that and make it even more difficult. This is really a pretty good kiting comp. This is a comp that you want the enemy team to be running into you, and then you're just flinging skill shots left and right at them as they walk forward. And they're really not going to have much hope, especially in this bottom lane. They're going to have a really, really hard time getting onto this Ashe and Braum. However, Jhin and Thresh can both enable that from a pretty good distance. Kha'Zix, Nautilus, and Echo are all very formidable divers from Team Eternal as well, so This should be a pretty interesting game as we're going to see pretty much, I feel like, the exact type of comp that reverse boosting really wanted from Team Eternal is coming out here.
Yeah, there is so much pick on the side of Team Eternal, and reverse boosting has a lot of, safety and peel. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're still going to find those picks and catch people out of position while they're rotating. And one thing to touch on right before we get into into loading, is the Echo pick for Prophetix.
Yeah.
This guy mains Echo, hundreds of games on Echo. This pick is going to be what carries this team through. And we're going to have to see if it comes out big.
Yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on. So, okay, talking about that Echo a little bit more, I wanted to ask you about this matchup versus the Ahri. Who do you think really going to come out on top here? And what factors do you think we really want to look out for? These are both pretty heavily ganking junglers, and both of these top laners are definitely not shy about roaming and teleporting around the map, I feel. So, do you feel like those will be major factors that we'll have to look out for, or how do you think this will swing whether the junglers or top laners interact with this lane or not?
Team Eternal has much better roaming, as there is a hook on the top and the support, and then Jhin with the W able to lock down targets from very far away. So, pre-6, the Ahri could get roamed on potentially. And I'm expecting that Prophetix on the Echo is very comfortable in every matchup, as he is a one-trick pony. Mm-hmm. So it's very likely that he's going to know this matchup in particular. So I would say that it's not a super hard lane for Ahri, as she has the range advantage. But I think that it's definitely possible that this unusual matchup could go in favor of the Echo.
All right, one last question before we do go to a quick break, and then we'll come back when we load onto the Rift. What other lane do you think we really want to be keeping our eyes on here? Which do you think might be the most action-packed or have the most impact on this game? I'm leaning towards this bottom lane being a big deal.
Yeah, the Thresh and the Jhin have so much combined CC that can just lock down a target. So if that Ashe is out of position, she can go down, but the turnaround potential from the Braum and the Ashe is also very high. So if Team Eternal commits to a fight and they don't get anything from it, reverse boosting can actually possibly even turn it around, CC them, and chase them down and get return kills.
All right, well, with all of that in mind, none of it matters until we see how it pans out on the Rift, guys. We will be right back after this very short musical break to load into the game, and we will return to you when it is fully loaded in and we can kick off some of this action. Game number 1 between Team Reverse Boosting and Team Eternal. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome onto the Rift for game number 1 between Team Reverse Boosting and Team Eternal. My name is still Blaster Boy, and I am still joined here by Epic Death Guy. And yeah, we've kind of flew through picks and bans. He commented on it before. It went very, very quick here, and well, we are on to this very special Blood Moon Summoner's Rift that is only here for a limited time. Pretty nice recolor, actually. I haven't personally gotten to spectate it in action quite yet, and I haven't played on it yet either. Definitely liking the Blood Moon Jin skin, though. That is certainly something that is enjoyable from this event so far. Any comments you want to make before we really get into the action here?
Everything looks very standard. The openings are standard. Everyone is just watching their entrances. This looks like it could be a very, very competitive match, as both teams are pretty equal in rank, and both compositions have their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, definitely interested to see how this ends up panning out. Like we talked about in Champ Select before, the mid lane and bot lane matchup seems to be the two big focuses that we're thinking that you should keep your eye on here. These will both be extremely interesting. And I feel like the jungle matchup is pretty interesting too. It's definitely not something we can discount. Ivern versus Kha'Zix, both two very meta junglers at the moment, both very invade heavy.
Oh, the Ivern already. Wait, this is a very special adaptation. He started Wolf Camp, and he's going to blue. He sees that they didn't start the red buff, and he's going to go immediately to the red buff now.
Yeah,
this is a very nice adaptation.
Yeah, I really like this choice. This is... Honestly, from what I understand, this is a fairly standard decision by Ivern. In a lot of situations, you can just get away with this pretty easily. It's not something that's extremely common, though. It's definitely something that's favored. If you do want to take the risk invading, this is the path you want to take. And now he's looking for that early level 2 up top, potentially. Waiting on this to pan out. Yeah, here he comes, coming in with this level 2 already. No range autos, misses the root collar, but burns the flash immediately from Gosu, and that is going to be really impactful in this lane up here, I feel. Now Gosu has to play way further back, and what a great decision from this Ivern from Dusty Marshmallow.
Yeah, and the Kha'Zix, because his red buff was stolen, it looks like he's going to try to do an adaptation in his pathing, as he fully cleared his lower jungle, and he's going to the Ivern's red buff now.
Yeah, this is also something pretty standard as far as I'm aware. If you... The LCS classic, I'll call it, way back in the day, when attempted 3 buffs like this were standard every single game, every jungler would take their blue or red and then steal the enemies, and then the enemy would also trade very evenly with that, but... Well, Kha'Zix, having a favorable position, tries to come down bottom and attempted aggression, spurred by this duo down here from Team Eternal. Not quite going to work out for them, not nearly as well as that early Ivern gank up top before. So now they know where Kha'Zix is. They know his side of the map.
Yeah, the Kha'Zix, the reason that the Ivern thing was risky is because he went Wolves to blue buff to red buff, which slows down his pathing by a few seconds, which gives the Kha'Zix enough time to go from buff to buff, so he can stop the Ivern from getting his red buff. But the Kha'Zix decided to take Wolves, so he did not get... So, the Ivern did not get punished for the greedy start. And then he decided to path into the lower jungle. We saw all the... the jungle meta game, mind games evolving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, well, Ziggy G fighting with Gosu up here. Actually, this is just a first blood coming out of nowhere for Ziggy, really.
And in the mid lane...
Viggy, rather, not Ziggy. Wow. Nonetheless, really good first blood from this Trundle, and punishment on the lack of a flash from Gosu, again, due to that early gank from Dusty Marshmallow just a few minutes ago. So this is already panning out fantastically for reverse boosting.
Yeah, and Team Eternal, their mid laner, has been having a very safe lane against the Ahri. He's been handling it comfortably. I mean, he just took some poke, but up until now, he's been the one dealing out the poke.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like it's kind of par for course for that lane, for the Ahri to be the one poking down this Echo quite a lot. You see it in the health advantage. You can kind of see it in the mana with how this Ahri is choosing to use her mana, as compared to how Echo is choosing to use his, which is Not nearly as much, just to shove the lane occasionally and get whatever harass he can, which ultimately is not a ton. Both of them have only burned one potion apiece, though.
Yeah, and the Team Eternal bot lane,
Oh,
they
oh.
oh,
See, Marshmallow's
some
looking for something
shenanigans going
mid.
mid lane, yeah. But they saw the Ivern. They had really nice map awareness. They saw the Ivern and immediately backed up, just going for a recall. But they recalled at a suboptimal time, so they're probably gonna miss a nice chunk of this wave now. So they're gonna be behind in XP and a little bit of gold. Although it wasn't shoved all the way in, so actually minion waves super exciting. Ashe and Braum are having to stay now to try to shove this in, but the Jhin and Thresh are back in lane. Oh, this is actually really good now for Team Eternal.
Oh, Gosu getting the beat down here from Viggy that he hooks into the wall. He's going to be able to get out successfully. But like you said, Team Eternal able to shove off this bottom lane. This duo from Team Reverse Boosting, and now they have control of the wave. Even though the wave is not in a good spot for them to fully shove in and punish Reverse Boosting duo,
They
they're
actually should be shoving it in. They can't freeze this, so slow
yeah.
pushing this is they. I don't think that they. Maybe they think they can't shove it in fast enough, but they're just slow pushing it. So actually, Ashe and Braum are going to come back in time to get all this. So sadly, not taking the opportunity to shove it all the way in and deny farm to the Ashe and Braum, and instead look at this giant wave built up for when Ashe and Braum get back.
Yeah.
The Ashe and Braum, reverse boosting bot lane cannot fight in that giant wave, but they are just going to be able to passively just soak up that XP and gold.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a second here to be a little bit critical of this Ashe build order from Hoodclaw. I really don't like this Zeal first. Generally, what we see from somebody like Ashe, and have for a while now, is you see the Runons as the first completed item. But the important caveat to that build order is that you need to go BF Sword first, because just attack speed and crit doesn't really do much for your damage overall. You actually need some AD to back it up so that those autos and crits actually do a meaningful amount of damage. So Zeal is the exact same cost as BF Sword. I really would have liked to see that here instead of the Zeal. Hook just missed by Gosu, and this pillar is here to cut him off. He's going to try to walk his way out. He has the flash available, and he will use it. He gets out, but only for a second. Viggy able to flash in using the subjugate, just tearing through his resistances that he doesn't even really have a surplus of quite yet. Doesn't seem like he has backed and bought anything
Echo in the
meaningful.
bot lane.
Yeah, good call here. There's a big dive being set up by Team Eternal. They have 4 members bottom, and we're going to see the parallel convergence come through the hook a little bit wide, and there is no dive here to be found for Team Eternal, missing those 2 big CCs.
Yeah, putting all 4 members down there and then not getting anything out of it is a very unfortunate thing, as they're losing resources everywhere else. And they didn't get punished for the top lane gank from the Ivern. And it looks like they're going to even chip away at the tower. It's probably not going to die, but it's definitely going to get low and be an objective that they're going to look back towards getting in the future.
They might be
Actually,
able to
it's
get this
getting
here.
really low.
Yeah, they haven't even touched the minion wave yet, because Daisy just tanked up that entire turret up until just now, and they do get this first breakthrough. And all of a sudden, reverse boosting in a fantastic position, as if it wasn't going well enough for them already in the top lane. Now this Trundle and Ivern have even more money, and the whole team has a lot of gold to work with all of a sudden. This dragon looks like it will be traded by Team Eternal, but that's really just a consolation prize for what ultimately is a big loss for them up top.
Yeah, already 2,000 gold lead this early on in the game for reverse boosting. And you can see that the Ivern, the comfort pick, is coming out, as he's been having a lot of impact throughout the map, especially in the top lane.
Yeah, and that's definitely a trend that will have to continue for reverse boosting, assuming I do want to carry this through to a victory, which I don't see why not. I feel like that's a caveat that is something you have to be thinking about in the back of your mind. Not something you want to stress about, especially not when you're ahead. You don't have to be thinking, okay, what's the most effective thing I can be doing? You have a bit of lenient. You have a bit of room to move around, make slightly ineffective or inefficient plays, and still be able to come out ahead just because you have that bit of an advantage. You're not scrapping and clawing for every little advantage at this point. So, however, if if major mistakes are made, there's still a lot of room for Team Eternal to completely flip this on its head. It's only 2,000 gold. It's only 10 minutes in. There is so much room left in this game right now.
Yeah, and I want to make a small comment on the build from Echo. He went for the Sheen and the Revolver, so he's going for that really strong, early, like, cheap item power spike with tons of on-hit damage. So he has to go in for his damage. His Q isn't going to do too much. But if he can get in and auto his targets with the Sheen and the Revolver proc, he's going to do an immense amount of damage because of the base damage those items provide.
Yeah, plus it also helps that he has an empowered auto attack in that phase dive, which is almost always his main initiation ability. Now Gosu caught out up top by Viggy, going to take quite a lot of damage, but he gets out cleanly. Not too much overstepping here from Viggy, and I can really respect that. He doesn't know exactly where the jungler is. He knows there's still some amount of risk, as although this Kha'Zix has been a bit ineffective, he's not all that much behind. It's 800 gold, but all of that money is really going into utility for that Ivern.
Up in the top lane, look at this freeze. This Trundle has complete control of this lane now. Nautilus had to back off, and he couldn't even do anything because Trundle decided, I'm going to freeze this wave in front of my tower. You're going to lose even more CS. I'm going to get more money, more gold, become a big Trundle. You're going to be a small, squishy diver man.
Oh. Profitix missing the phase dive over the wall now. RXY maybe a little bit caught out, but nothing will really come of it in the end. As Echo roams down, and Kha'Zix shows bottom as well. And now suddenly, Team Eternal having to scramble to save their turret in the mid.
Yeah, but they're collapsing on the Ivern and the Ahri. So if they don't rotate out fast enough, they could get caught out.
Yeah, Profitix has something to say here, and there's the parallel convergence coming down with the Dusty Marshmallow, going to be able to clean him up with a bit of help from Gosu. As Harbo taken very low as well, the Crystalline Arrow comes through. Ziggy teleports in on the side, Soul is going to fall, but Viggy will fall as well. And ultimately, it's a 2-for-1 in the favor of Team Eternal. They ended up having a really good rotation there, and the turret just doesn't quite fall. Might not be over yet. There's the parallel convergence, phase dive in, and chrono break back out from Profitix. Testing his limits there and just trying to get the kill. If he can secure it, only if he can secure it very cleanly and safely, but if not, he just checks out immediately. Such safe play from Team Eternal, yet they get a good punishment onto reverse boosting and still come out ahead.
Yeah, and we see this Echo, 2 kills in that fight, becoming, you know, the main threat very quickly. And a quick thing that I want to see, the Echo's in base right now, so I want to see if he goes for it. He is doing it. I have scouted this player out. He goes for a Gunblade Echo. Hextech Gunblade, not the regular Proto Belt. So he's going to have even more damage loaded onto those auto attacks, as well as some more sustain. So it's going to be a harder threat to take him out. But he is going to lose some of that extra tankiness that the Proto Belt provides, as well as mobility and AoE damage. So he's looking more for single target plus extra sustain.
Yeah, and I mean, the burst from Proto Belt is still something formidable, even in spite of its nerfs a bit early. Oh, man, there's the on-hit damage coming through Harbo. Just gets deleted. Out of nowhere, the phase dive.
That single target damage is very big for the Echo. And if the Ahri tries to bully him out, he's going to have lifesteal now, too. So he's going to be able to sustain up. So while it might not be the most optimal item build, it actually is going to be able to do certain things situationally that a regular Echo build would not.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like one of those things, at least with the Sheen, will be pushing down turrets just a bit faster than usual. Going at Sheen item, although Lichbane is not unheard of on Echo, I feel, it's not incredibly common. And that's just one of the things that he can really do. The Gunblade, oh no, Hoodclaw completely caught out here. Here's the Curtain Call coming through, and this might be the Curtain Call of Team Eternal, actually. This is looking really dicey for them. All of a sudden, Dusty Marshmallow and Viggy coming through. Profitix able to phase dive out, and everyone gets out cleanly, but a teleport pulled from Gosu. Viggy just straight up walking down bottom. Ooh, attempted flash hook. There's the depth charge, and just nothing's going to come from it. This Braum, a bit too good of a position with that shield.
Yeah, and the dog is not liking this fight.
Gosu completely caught out in the front line. Those were barks of concern in the background.
Yeah. Gosu, get out! No! Sadly, he didn't get out and will fall there.
Oh,
And
Soul able to slip his way out of there. He's out.
and
He's
now
out. Okay.
Infernal Drake gonna be the objective. And reverse boosting has a lot of control over this right now, especially with the Ivern to deny vision. They can't even see how low it is.
Yeah, there's just nothing here for Team Eternal to find. The dragon, it's gone. It's hiding in the bush. Don't worry. It's completely okay, I'm sure. I'm sure Ivern just saved it, you know, like he does with the rest of the camps. Team Eternal, though, in an interesting position. Reverse boosting now, that's actually their first dragon. They did not get the one before, as they committed so many resources up top. But that's an arguably better dragon for Team Eternal to have. It's not quite as good on not Eternal, rather reverse boosting. It's I think it's even more valuable. Man, words are hard sometimes. It's extremely valuable for them to have it, but I think it's even more valuable, even just slightly, for them to just be keeping it off of this Jhin and Echo, particularly Harbo. Now, in a bad situation, Kofidix, all of a sudden, Chrono breaks out, able to get away from that Ignite, just barely, but Gosu not so lucky, and he actually dies on the side. How did he get there? His soul did not go that way. I guess they must have pathed separately. They went their separate ways, and it looks like Soul took the higher road. Now all of a sudden, reverse boosting, have a good position, a few good picks. RXY finding Soul here, and, well, not going to be able to find him, but Devour caught out, has a jump under his turret, stealth away as well. He gets out cleanly, but Daisy is going to be able, oh man, so much damage coming through. This mid tier 2 will fall. It's traded for the tier 1 down bottom, but it's a beneficial trade overall for reverse boosting, and that's before they even get this tier 2 top as well. So much money for this team.
Yeah, they got greedy going for the dive on the Ahri when they didn't really need to, and Prophetics on the Echo. Just the center of this team, the core, being the main damage threat for right now until Jhin scales up, and him dying just cracks the game open for reverse boosting.
Yeah, and this is still pretty darn close, I've got to say, but reverse boosting is definitely running away with this right now. It feels like Team Eternal are definitely absolutely on the back foot, on the ropes. They're running out of room to fall back into, and they have to do something big here. Even if we look at the individual gold here, when we go down the lineup, you think, okay, well, Profitix, he's about as fed as the next most fed person in the game. He should have just a ton of money, way more than his counterpart. That's just not the case. 4 turrets add up to a lot for this Ahri, and so Ahri actually has about a 300 gold advantage at this moment. And that's while also being down in farm as well. So overall, this is a great position for reverse boosting, and Team Eternal is going to be hard pressed to find a way to get this gold back in their favor without some pretty big mistakes from reverse boosting overall.
Yeah. Right now, they just need to turtle out and look for picks and catch people rotating. And the Ahri is rotating, but it looks like she might be doing the catching right now.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell here, honestly. Profitix, he goes back in, but has to flash out. Phase dive not available, not able to proc that on hit, not able to throw down the Gunblade. Really, not able to do much of anything except use that Chrono Break to heal himself back up, and, well, that is the end of that.
Yeah, the Echo as an assassin pick. Currently, he's not going to be able to really get 1v1 kills as reverse boosting is grouping up enough, and they're close enough that they can support each other, as well as their team being behind of reverse boosting. So hopefully we can see some picks come out as a coordinated team from Team Eternal. But if reverse boosting just groups up and doesn't get caught rotating or just doing something weird by themselves, then this should be a game that they can close out fairly easily. Words are hard, in fact.
Yeah, and I mean, on that point, to build on that point a little bit more that you just made, Team Eternal definitely has a composition that's capable of getting picks. They have one-man initiation squads. They have people that can follow up on that one initiator. They have an assassin. They have two assassins, even. There's just so many ways that they can just pick off one or two people, and there are immobile targets on the side of reverse boosting. There's openings that Eternal can find, and this might be one of them. Hoodclaw now in a bad spot. Parallel Convergence in the backline, but Profitic's not quite going to be able to pop it, but Harbo in a bad spot, not as lucky as the rest of his team. Profitic now stunned up. Hoodclaw in the front lines, able to take him out. Soul is going to fall as well. Now Viggy in the front lines. The big threat here. Gosu and Devour just limping away with slivers of health. Gosu similarly not as lucky as the rest of his team. The other two members here that are surviving, and even though this Jin is the last person they would be hitting here, he's just not able to do enough damage right now with only this one item, only the Ghost Blade.
And they're going for the Baron.
Yeah, without a single ping, this is looking like a Baron attempt from reverse boosting, without a doubt. This is a Baron attempt, and there's just no vision on this side of the map whatsoever from Team Eternal, so this is going to be pretty clean for reverse boosting overall, and this is going to swing the game majorly if that team fight on its own was not enough already.
Yeah, and if they get this and get out, look what Drake just spawned. Infernal Drake. Second Infernal for them. Even more damage going to be available after that.
And what a fight from reverse boosting. Honestly, they stuck it out for a very long time. It was such a long fight and such a long return chase in what looked like it was a very bad situation. It was initiated by Team Eternal. They got Team Eternal got the first pick onto this Ahri, one of the major points of this team, one of the major focuses that they want to be taking out. But it just ended up not being enough. They couldn't kill that Ashe. They could not deal with this Trundle. And there's just so much CZ to keep them intimate in that fight. There's no way they could get out of there once it started going sour.
Yeah, a quick note on the Jin's build. He went for the Edge of Night, which I really like. It's going to allow it so he can walk up and just get free autos off without having to worry about the Braum ultimate or the Ashe ulti or RA just insta-bursting him.
Oh.
And the Jin W was a little bit off there. Maybe if that hit, they could have maybe went in on it, although quite risky to do so. But Trundle is bot lane without TP right now. That probably was their best chance to go for something, but looks like they're having another chance.
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's
they're
not
certainly
great.
Looking for it. There's a really good death charge though, and Curtain Call coming through, finding its mark onto this Ashe in the backline. RXY follows in the front. Soul and Devour extremely low. Harbo now back in there, and ET Medea is not able to get back into this fight and actually deal very much damage past the Curtain Call. And again, really, the one pick goes the way of Team Eternal, but reverse boosting just stand their ground. They can't get onto any of the other carries. I think the big issue is Team Eternal is just burning everything onto picking off one target, and they just have nothing left in the tank at that point. It's a multi-pronged team, and it was a 45. Reverse boosting still stuck it out. They still get that inhib turret and the inhib to boot, and now they're going to be pulling back, looking for that dragon that they were standing off for just a few moments ago. They're really feeling like
Trundle wasn't. Trundle just taking out the bot turret. He wasn't even in that last fight. That was 4v5, and at first it looked like there was a glimmer of hope for Team Eternal, but reverse boosting, turning it around, the Ahri getting massive damage off, the Ashe not dying, just meant that they're just so far ahead that it was impossible for them to really win that unless they played it perfectly. And you see now almost a 10,000 gold lead for reverse boosting.
Yeah, and I really like how reverse boosting is kind of meticulously playing this. Like I mentioned in the last few fights, they've gotten picked, but they've held their ground. They've not backed out. They've realized, oh, well, we still have way more money than them. We're still in a better item situation than Team Eternal is, and even though this fight might look kind of iffy, we still have the damage for it. Our comp still does what it needs to do here. It keeps them locked down. It keeps them kited. There's not really much hope, and they're also getting these turrets on the side. They're getting the turrets off the back of the fights. They're getting the turrets as the fight is going on, in the case of this last one with Viggy just split pushing down bottom the entire time. Now Devour may be finding a pretty juicy pick here onto RXY, but will not be the case, unfortunately. Profitix nearly, well, he was spotted, nearly tagged by that charm, but will not be working out for Harbo in the end.
Yeah, and now we see that inhib down and nowhere to really go out of their base. Team Eternal has to just turtle it out, hope that they can find something, pray that someone gets caught out, and that they're coordinated enough to use their lockdown CC and then get those assassins in and pick them off. Because they can't really fight right now 5v5. They're just not strong enough. So they just have to look for an opening, hope they can find it, and hope they can crawl their way back into this game. And it looks like there might be one here.
Could have taken the form of that hook a bit earlier, but it was nearly that Kha'Zix in the front line and the curtain call to boot, but it just didn't work out for Team Eternal. They've got nothing left now. Viggy in the backline going on to Soul, flashing forward, looking for the autos, maybe not going to be able to find it right that instant, but he does get it eventually. Subjugate coming down onto this Jhin from ET Medea, and he has to back out as well. And an unfortunate teleport for Gosu as his team just gets crushed from the backline while he teleports into the front. Ended up having to burn his flash in order to get out of there safely and still show up to the fight. Reverse boosting still just in a fantastic position, not even losing a member that time and getting 2 more kills. Now have a solid push down bottom. The big wave coming through, Daisy in the front.
And I mean, how do you really kill them? With the locket from Dusty Marshmallow and XY95, plus the Brahms Unbreakable and Stand Behind Me, plus the Trigger Seed from Ivern. I mean,
yeah.
And not even to mention the Redemption and the Athenes as well for like even more healing. It's so hard to pick off a member and kill them. So the Ivern just completely shutting down the Assassin pick comp. And I mean, you see how all this, the return CC that I mentioned in the pregame, the Ashe and the Braum with the Glacial Fissure and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
Harbo maybe a bit caught out here. Devour really wants to make this a kill, and he's going to look for it, but he gets charmed and ignited, and he has to run, but there's just nowhere left to go.
And the Mastery emote from the Ahri coming out, just the icing on the cake. Oof. Sadly, not getting the Ahri locked down, chasing her down, and then she's getting this return damage while she's running away.
Yeah, and that's one of the major functions of this composition from Team Reverse Boosting that we mentioned in Champ Select. They really just want you to run at them, and then they can just throw spells over their shoulder and just walk right out, and they're completely fine. That's how they deal their damage. That's how they keep you in the fight, even when you don't want to be there. Now Protofix, he wants to change that right there, but not able to get the last auto onto Harbo. The hook from Soul goes wide as well, and I've got to say, these hook champions not working out extremely well for Team Eternal here.
No.
Really unfortunate, too. There's so much potential for their comp to be so much different if they're landing a lot of these really big hooks, but they're just not able to deliver, and there's not really a lot of huge opportunity that Reverse Boosting are giving them either.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw the curtain call just used. While the audio is beautiful, the damage might not have been so amazing. And, like, Baron respawning now? There's no vision in the jungle, really. Oh, although we do see Viggy walking over a ward. So, maybe there could be a fight here. They're grouping up, although Nautilus is out of the way without teleport.
Yeah, this is... Well, there's going to be some respect here from Reverse Boosting, nonetheless. They respect the fact that Devour is in the area, even though this is kind of a death trap for Reverse Boosting to be, or for Team Eternal rather, to be walking into, I feel, with so little vision just a moment ago. They've been able to pull that back all of a sudden. Now they have decent vision control in their own jungle.
Yeah, and I really like how both supports went for the Ruby Sight Zone because of all the active items they're going to be getting. The Locket, the Redemption probably. And we see that they're playing a big factor in this vision game. Pink Ward is being bought on all members. There's actually quite a decent vision game being played right now, from both teams.
Yeah, and that's certainly something to look out for, because that can also make or break the game. Even if you have a lead, even if you're behind, your situation can really you can really be put in a make or break situation depending on your vision.
And now the
Even with,
Drake is spawning. Actually, Viggy and
yeah, and
Harbo are gonna duo it. And after this Drake is killed, it's gonna be past 35 minutes, which means the Elder Drake will actually be spawning, which is probably gonna be up around the 36:30 by the time they finish this.
yeah, something like that.
So that's going to be another objective to help them close out the game. And right now, while vision control has been reestablished for Team Eternal, the clock is ticking. There's objectives around the map, and the driver's seat is currently for reverse boosting.
Yeah, I mean, we can see how Team Eternal is just trying to play proactively here, trying to get a pick, but even then, reverse boosting, they're the ones calling the shots. Profitic now pushed to the backside is Gosu, just in the wrong neighborhood right now. Devour is actually the first one to go down. Harbo flashing, not quite flashing forward, but using his ultimate to jump in pretty far in that fight. Get some decent damage down, and now reverse boosting with that one single pick and pushing Team Eternal all the way back to their base. They're going to go and push for this inhib as well, and they're going to be in a much more secure position than they were just a second ago if they want to take that Baron, and it looks like that will be the decision.
Yeah, and I mean, they're just playing a slow and steady game, getting the inhib, shoving out all the minion waves, and just saying, okay, you need to defend your base, we're going to Baron. If you come, your jungler is still not even up yet. Although, he will be respawning. He's not going to be in time for the steal. They're melting this Baron.
Yeah, they're just melting through it so quickly with those double Infernals and a Mountain Drake. The curtain call, very, very close, but not quite going to deliver. RXY is the target of these shots from afar, but it's not quite going to pan out. Dusty Marshmallow caught in the front line.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow missing, though.
Yeah, and Soul will be the one to fall in the end as Harbo just completely shuts it down and now flashes forward, misses the charm, but Medea is still going to burn away even in spite of his heal and flash. And now, that's going to be pretty securely the end of the game, I feel, for reverse boosting. They just have a powerhouse of a team still alive. They have everyone lined up, and there's just nothing left.
How the Jhin, he used the Edge of Night earlier on, but we saw very little usage of it later in the game. I don't think that would have been enough for them to win this game, but I think that's something that definitely needed to be looked at, because he was getting picked off or like chunked out quite a bit because of the RE. That would have helped prevent a lot of that. But also the Kazakhs not respecting the Ahri and just chasing after her or not flashing or Eing away, causing him to die a few times as well. Just not showing enough respect to the Ahri pick, who actually was thought to be, the favorable lane for Team, I'm whiffing my, Team Eternal. So
yeah, definitely a lot to look at going into this next game. Really, I feel almost for both of these teams, because reverse boosting, they did have a pretty clean game, only 5 deaths. But they had a lead for a very long time, and that's great, but it still took them a little while to close it out. And that was just kind of an artifact of them playing very safely, and I don't want to trash on them for playing very safely, because I really appreciate that. But maybe trying to close games like that out a little bit quicker is good for the future.
One last thing before we close it out. The Ahri did almost double the damage of the second highest damage dealer, which was the Ashe, shortly followed by the Jhin.
Wow.
The Ahri just insane amounts of damage that game. Just steamrolling throughout the team, flying through. And we saw that pick came out pretty big.
Yeah, definitely a big performance from Harbo that game, but we do have one more game lined up, guys. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this break with a champ select for game number 2 between Team Reverse Boosting and Team Eternal. Don't go anywhere.
is gone and all of the paths you've drawn have sunk to the ocean sand where no one can see. You stand, don't let the dark embrace, cower the dreams you chase under the rust and blood. Don't let yourself give up.
Alright guys, welcome back to Learning 5. This is game number 2 between Team Reverse Boosting and Team Eternal. My name is still Blasterboy and I'm still joined here by Epic Death Guy. We are in to Champ Select now. Game 2, like I just said, and well, it looks like some of these bans at least are going to be sticking from last time. Hopefully, Team Reverse Boosting does put through that second ban this time. That would be, I feel like that would be pretty helpful for them. Although it didn't really look like they needed it last game.
No, very dominant game 1 coming out. We are allowing response bans, as we did not allow target bans for the first game, but people are allowed to make adaptions. So if, something like, let's say the mid lane picks from last game, or the Trundle, or anything were an issue for either of the teams, they are allowed to ban it out. And also, another thing to note is the substitute in the top lane. We have RCXD coming in, or RCXD King coming in for Gosu Amazing on Team Eternal.
Yeah, there was some apparent issue where, well, it seems like honestly, from what I saw in the lobby, Gosu just kind of disappeared. He may have had internet issues or something to that effect, but lack of communication, last minute sub coming through for Team Eternal was passed by both of the teams. It was okay. So here we are. We might see at least a slightly different champion pool here, maybe significantly different, but so far these bans are the same, with Echo being that last ban.
Well, we have the Kha'Zix and the Echo taken out, both played by Team Eternal, so far the bans look to favor Team Reverse Boosting, as none of their picks from last game were banned out. But the Echo being the big thing taken out from Prophetix as the mid laner, who is a one-trick pony Echo. We're going to have to see him go to his fallback picks, which he might not be nearly as comfortable on.
Yeah, you'd be really hard-pressed to find someone that has that many hundreds of games on a champion that has a second backup champion that he is equally as comfortable on. That's definitely the exception, not the rule, if that's even the case with very many, if any, one-trick ponies at all. But Kennen is the first lock-in here for Team Eternal, so already a bit of a change-up from them. And I kind of like it. It's an interesting pick. I want to see where it goes, though, because it's pretty flexible. I mean, if you consider what Reckless plays Kennen to be part of the meta, then meta-wise, Kennen could be played support, top, mid, or ADC. There's a lot of different options here. Victor and Ivern picked up on the side of Team Reverse Boosting, though, and Dusty Marshmallow back on that hugely impactful pick from last time, so definitely something to be feared.
Yeah, I'm surprised they went for they didn't go for an Ivern ban, actually, as I feel that Ivern is very impactful in saving people and preventing the picks. And the composition already coming out, we see the Malzahar support. They have both pick and team fighting in the Kennen, with pick on the Malzahar, so their comp is kind of split. Are they going to go for more team fight or more pick? And is the Malzahar more just maybe it's a Malzahar mid lane, actually. I was thinking it was support, but now I'm thinking it's actually possibly mid lane Malzahar, which already Team Eternal has 3 AP champions. Yeah. Ivern, he likes to get some magic resistance in his build with the Athenes, with the Locket. So, I mean, this is a natural itemization for him. And if they just build straight up magic resistance, it's all on the AD carry to be dealing physical damage. And if he's not a threat, then this composition might just fall apart.
Yeah, definitely a dicey position for Team Eternal at first glance right now. But on the opposite side, Team Reverse Boosting picking up the Ashe once more, and a Nautilus for themselves this time, actually taking that away from Team Eternal. Granted, they do have a different player in that top lane this game, but they won't have a Trundle pick. Now, I think this Vayne Hover is actually pretty interesting. If it does go through, then that is a massive amount of damage for Team Eternal, suddenly shoving their comp in the other direction, away from that AP singular focus. And there is a lot of true damage on Vayne, granted, but obviously ADC, a ton of physical damage coming through from that champion. If it is locked in, Janna being hovered as well. Let's talk about these last 2 lock-ins from Team Reverse Boosting first, though.
Yeah, so the Nautilus and the Ashe. They have a lot of pick, and they also have a lot of AP. As if the Nautilus goes top lane, AP top, jungle, and mid lane. So both teams
Yeah.
having 3 APs on the top side of the map, and only AD is an ADC. So those ADCs are going to be instrumental. If either of them get shut down or really behind, there's just going to be straight up magic resistance. You get a null magic mantle. You get a null magic mantle. Like,
Yeah.
there's gonna just be no, like if the Ashe, especially since she without items does very little damage, the Vayne can still kind of shred tanks, but the Ashe, that's the big one. If she falls really behind, there's almost no damage, on the side of reverse boosting, and that Zac
Yeah.
can get really beefy. Spirit Visage, might want to get a locket himself. Just tons of tank items.
Yeah.
So this game is gonna be.
Oh, I don't see why this Zac wouldn't just kind of stack MR like you were just saying. There's a lot of reasons for both of these, the Zac and Nautilus, to do that on both sides. So these will be some tanky frontliners for both of these teams, I feel.
Yeah, but we do see a kind of team fight specialization on Team Eternal side, while reverse boosting has more towards a similar comp from last game. Don't change what isn't broke, Although they did swap up a little bit of the picks. And you see that reverse boosting has definitely much more champions geared towards making picks off. Although Team Eternal, the king of picks, and Malzahar might just counter their picks with more picks. So it's going to be lots of picks and maybe some team fighting.
Yeah, and I mean, this Malzahar is definitely going to be a formidable opponent. Specifically, I feel for this Nautilus and the Braum as well. I mean, Malzahar is a very big threat for any carry, of course. Having a suppression, uncleansable CC, there's not really a lot of things that can save you from that. The QSS is going to be a must on this Ashe, I feel like almost certainly. But at the end of the day, Malzahar's Nether Grasp is percent max health damage. It is very much a tank shredding ability. So if one of these tanks dives in, if this Nautilus or Ivern or something like that dives in, then they're just going to get locked down, and there's going to be a field day for this DPS, for the DPS of Malzahar just on his own, but also Vayne and Kennen as well, and their health is just going to melt away even through a lot of magic resist, I feel. There's a very big risk of diving into this composition, I feel, from Team Eternal in the end. Alrighty. Well, I think that we've said about all we have to say for this Champ Select, guys. So we will be back in just a moment. And once we load onto the Rift for game number 2 between Team Eternal and Team Reverse Boosting, you are still watching Learning Fives. Do not go anywhere. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Learning Fives. Once again, this is game number 2 onto the Rift now between Team Eternal on the blue side and Team Reverse Boosting on the red. We have gone through Champ Select and the entirety of game number 1, and Team Reverse Boosting looked pretty darn decisive in that first game. We are seeing a bit of a shakeup here with both of these compositions.
Yeah. The Victor pick is kind of strange, as the Ahri did so well last game. I guess that they just felt more comfortable picking it into this composition, and having the extra zone control that the Victor provides with his E's, W's, and the ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a different type of pick, but it does, or a different pick rather, but I feel like overall, you did touch on this in Champ Select as well, that this is a pretty similar style of composition overall for Team Reverse Boosting. And I feel like Victor kind of fills, to some extent, the same slot that Ahri does, where he can also kite away and just throw spells as he runs and deal a lot of damage.
I mean, I think it fits the comp more, but it might help less, as maybe it's better against the Malzahar, as Ahri diving in, Malzahar just ults you, you're dead. So playing further back is probably going to be better during team fights against the composition that Team Eternal has. But I'm not so certain Harbo is going to have the same strength on the Victor.
Yeah, well, we will have to see how exactly it works out. And this top lane is a major point of change, as well as Team Eternal having a completely different player in this top lane for game number 2 here, with a much different pick as well. So a lot of things are different here for Eternal, much more so than Reverse Boosting, and we'll have to see if this pans out for them. I'm excited to see this Vayne. Hopefully there's not much Vayne spotting for the sake of Medea, but we will have to see how everything works out. You know, it's hard to say how things will work when things are so different like this, and there are fewer comfort picks, and, well, Profitix fighting with Harbo in the mid lane here, and it seems like they're much more even than last time, but this level 2 gank from Dusty Marshmallow persists again, as he takes that same path as last time. It looks like it was, it may have been Raptors red, then...
Oh, Devour's getting really low. Okay. It's getting a little risky, sorry. But yeah, taking a very similar path, going Raptors red, then the blue, and not getting punished again. So no adaptions really coming out from Devour to try to counter that. And this time he's not even going to get Marshmallow's blue buff. So, I mean, triple buffed going over to the Ivern.
Yeah, and this is already a much better start than last time, just for the junglers. Like you said, that it was just a buff trade last time. It was pretty much even. Nothing really mattered. I can't help but Devour is getting a little bit desperate here. He realizes that he's kind of on the ropes again, and King has had to burn his flash up top already, very similarly to how it was burned in the last game from a completely different player. The same exact gank worked again, the same invade worked again. He really wanted to try to force something up top, but he's just not able to do it. He ends up floundering around for a little bit too long and wasting quite a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, after that Gromp, he just stood near the blast cone and placed 2 wards in the bush and kind of just walked back and forth for like 10 seconds, figuring out, what do I do now? And the only gankable lane for him really was the bot lane, but he's on the top side of the map, so I mean, he can't even gank the one gankable lane really.
And he is making his way down towards his bottom side of the map now, so hopefully he can make something happen down here, but I mean, it won't be uncontested as Dusty Marshmallow is in the same neighborhood now as well. But this Ivern is looking mid lane first, and here it is. Profitix has the flash away. There's the root collar coming through. The flash was burned from Profitix, but I mean, he still takes a decent amount of damage. He has to recall off of that gank, and that is another successful gank from Dusty Marshmallow, 2 in a row now.
Yeah, the Ivern pick, not banned out. Kind of interesting that they said that Ivern's not an issue, because we can already see the strength coming out from the pick. Dusty Marshmallow has shown that he is very comfortable on this champion. He has gotten a nice amount of games on it and knows what to do, and he's proving it.
And Devour, oh man. taken very low, just trying to get together whatever he can in this mid lane. He does have a CS lead, to his credit. He is only down about 75 gold, so he's in a pretty okay position in spite of getting 3 buff right now. It's just a matter of that actually mattering, and Medea now going to get hit by that. Oh man, the concussive blows are stacking, and there it is, Medea very close to death. Hoodclaw has to back away. There's another, oh man, ice block from Braum. I can't recall what the ability name is. Viggy now fighting up top. Taken very low by King, and this is a much better position in the top lane so far. In spite of that flash being burned early by King due to that early gank from Dusty Marshmallow, he's actually delivering in this 1v1 with a favorable matchup. This is very good for Team Eternal.
If we look in the... Oh, pause coming out. Okay. Well, while we have this pause, I'm going to quickly touch on the mid lane, as Profitix has shoved it in, so Harbo is going to miss a couple more CS. Oh, pause going away. Luckily not a long one. But already a 10 plus CS difference in the mid lane, and I mean, like, the Victor is actually pushing around the Malzahar pretty well pre-6. After Malzahar gets the ulti, I want to see if he has kill pressure on him, but this is looking like a favorable matchup for Harbo. And another pause coming out.
Yep, we'll get back into the game proper eventually, but yeah, it'll be very interesting to see if Profitix is able to push his way through that lane as soon as the level 6 ticks over or not. I feel like in the current position with the items that he has, he went for that Lost Chapter first, and that's not a defensive start, but it's not the most aggressive start, because you end up getting that benefit of getting a ton of mana back whenever you level up, and instead of getting cooldown reduction, and you also take a bit of a hit in AP, if I'm recalling correctly, versus the Fiendish Codex. So he's going for the slightly less aggressive first 900 gold investment during his first back here. So he's not in the optimal position to be pushing in and playing extremely aggressively as soon as he hits level 6. But the champion might just enable that on its own. It'll be interesting to see, depending on how Harbo really positions here. If he puts himself in a bad situation, in a dicey position, potentially, then all of that damage could just fall through very, very quickly for this Victor.
Yeah, the Malzahar not being his Echo pick that he loves oh so much. I want to just point out, the teams had some issues after the pause. Oh, looks like it's repaused. Oh boy. But the teams were helping each other out with their bugs. They were giving each other some advice on how to fix camera issues and whatnot. So good sportsmanship coming out from both teams. Really like that. Want to give a shout out to both the teams being so cooperative with each other during these pausing times. It looks like one person has internet issues and a Windows update, so looks like we might be here for a little while.
Nope, we're on pausing again. All right, I want to touch on CS real quick. So if we go down the line, there are some CS advantages pretty decisively for Team Reverse boosting right now in every single lane, actually.
Yeah, that Ivern got control in the lanes and has allowed his solo laners, and, you know, the Ashe has just been freely pushing up, kind of, not getting punished. So the solo laners getting the advantage, getting to bully around their lane opponents, and the Ashe just constantly shoving in, out pushing the Vayne, has allowed for a CS lead across the board, and over, 1,000 gold difference already, with no kills on either side.
Yeah, and that is very much interesting, and King going to be taking quite a bit of damage from this Nautilus, as he is definitely delivering the deeps with that anchor.
In the mid lane, I don't know if the camera missed it, but Victor took a lot of damage, did a lot of damage to the Malzahar. And it's almost like this lane is going the complete opposite as it was last game, where Profitix on the Echo was bullying around Harbo.
Yeah.
This game, Harbo's in the driver's wheel. But in the top lane, Echo...
Viggy going to get stunned up, and King really wants to take this fight, but he misses the Q, and that is going to be enough to secure his death. The flash in from Viggy with that... oh, man. Man, I can't remember any ability names today for some reason. The Nautilus.
Who are you talking about?
The Nautilus E just so
Riptide.
much damage. Riptide, thank you. Riptide just does so much damage, coming from a tank, especially. That is just a bit too much for him. The flash was burned by Viggy, and the flash is still up for King. I don't know if it was up in that exact second or not, but man, if it was, that really feels bad. The flash insta Riptide just to kill him off. But this lane, although King did have kill pressure earlier, he's still down about 20 CS and now down a kill as well, which effectively doubles that CS lead. A kill is about 20 CS worth of gold. Or 20 CS worth of gold is about a kill, depending on how you want to look at it. But right here, it is both of those doubling down.
Devour.
He is Devour now looking for a gank down bottom. Hook Claw flashing away, a great response. And now Devour in a really bad spot. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming through as Hook Claw trying to run away as best he can. Medea getting kited by the volleys, having to flash a good Monsoon, but it's not enough to save Devour's life. I feel the less bounce comes out in the CC reduction. He flashes away and he's out clean. Not the best situation for Team Eternal, but I feel like they made the best of it, really, in spite of not getting any kills and them getting routed after they initiated that. They still get out without a single death. It was almost a different story in the mid lane too, though, as Profitix is extremely low, all the way back to base now.
Yeah, and you see Harbo with the Victor instantly wave clearing the back line, quickly clearing the melee minions as well. Just shoving this lane in constantly, getting the back times that he wants that are good for him, and bullying him around. And now he can even pressure the dragon because of the mid control.
Yeah, there's just no way that Team Eternal can really get out of their lanes and help this out right now. There's no hope for them to really... Well, not to contest this as a group,
Zach?
but Devour can just launch himself over the back of the pit, get this fadeaway smite, but the bushes just completely denying vision. Unfortunately, there was no way he could actually get that smite down. He would have had to fly at too awkward of an angle because of where those bushes were, I feel.
I think he had vision because of the scrying orb would keep vision on the Drake. Although, I really, really like what reverse boosting did. They actually slowed down their damage on the Drake and just didn't damage it until Zach's E wore off.
Yeah, incredibly smart.
Yeah. Preventing the chance that it was a 50-50 and just securing it, either Zach has to commit really early, and then he'll completely 100% die for it, and probably won't even get it, or just he won't even be able to jump in, and then they just get it for free after his E is on cooldown.
Yeah, now Viggy looking for a fight on King up top again, getting another hook, another depth charge, and King might be going down here, but there's the slicing maelstrom coming through, just not enough damage to back it up though. And he lands another stun, his second or third of that fight. Devour waiting in the wings, but he's just not able to tempt Viggy into diving that turret right now.
Yeah. And RCXD right now has the flash.
Oh, here we go!
Not, but he's just gonna hook him. Dredgeline just pulling him in, picking up a kill. Zach might get a response kill, but...
Yeah, looks like he will be able to get it. That's a good let's bounce to knock him into no man's land, and... Oh no, Dusty Marshmallow flashing in with the shield to save his life, and Viggy gets out alive.
Oh my lord.
What
the
a play
flash
from Dusty Marshmallow.
trigger seed from the Ivern was phenomenal. Saving Viggy and getting him a kill was... Flash shielding from supportive champions is very underrated.
Yeah.
Some of the few plays that they are allowed to make. But this Ivern has been having a great influence on the game, and right there, just shutting down the jungler even more.
Wow, what a play from Dusty Marshmallow, and ultimately I feel a lot of that was from Devour just taking so long to really get up there. He was there, and then he was at the Gromp, and he killed the Gromp, and then went up to look for the kill, and that just gave enough time for Dusty Marshmallow. He was already on his way in that direction, likely to either just go take that Scuttle Crab, or to help him shove out the lane. Now Harbo, maybe the target Profitix wants to get in there with the Ghost, but not quite able to do it. The Ghost change just not paying off for him here. Takes 2 seconds to ramp up to max value. Now Devour just going to get ticked away. No, Harbo pulled it away.
Yeah, Harbo could have just let it on him.
And comes through, and Malefic Vision finishes him off.
Harbo, Victor's ultimate works very similar to Annie's in that you can control it, and he was having it chase after Zac, but then he pulled it away at the last second, and didn't get the kill and dies for it. So really sad misplay right there. Don't know why he macroed and made that little micro arrow pressing E again, or sorry R. Oh god, I'm out of it today.
I mean, honestly, it may have been as simple as that mix-up that you just made. He may have just hit the wrong button. He may have meant to hit his E and accidentally clicked in the wrong direction with his R.
Yeah, accidentally miscasting the misplay.
Yeah.
But still, definitely a very large lead on the side of reverse boosting right now.
Oh, interesting hook there from Vicky into the wall. Pulls himself right into some damage from King, but I mean, it's not really all that much. It's a cannon with no items quite yet versus a 3-0 Nautilus that already has his Visage and a Ami Cinder completed. He's just in a perfect position right now.
I'm looking to see if the Zac is going to go bot lane after this, because the lanes on the side of reverse boosting are pushing out very far, but this is kind of this is a thing that LMQ kind of like popularized. When all the lanes are so pushed out, they kind of all can get an advantage, and if the jungler doesn't get any responses, they all just bully around their lane.
Yeah.
So I mean, if only one lane is pushed out, that's a prime gank target, but right now there's 3 lanes pushed out, and Devour isn't getting anything done. And look at this dive up in the top lane.
Dove here, but there's a slicing maelstrom coming down. Viggy taking up the turret for so long, but he is Nautilus. That is what he does best. And that turret shot didn't even kill the trigger seed in the end. Harbo now in a bad spot, burning the flash, throwing everything down at the Zac and not able to hit any of it. A good flash away, but I mean, he could have gotten some form of a return there, I feel. Or just not thrown everything down at all. This top tier 1 will fall in the favor of Team Reverse Boosting in the end, though, and that is first brick for them, 5,000 gold in the bank with 16 minutes into this game already. What a great start from them again. They're really delivering here, and it does feel like it's a bit more... I feel like it's almost a bit more even,
subbing in,
but it's really not. In terms of gold, I think it's worse than it was last game even.
Yeah, RCXD, not playing the last game, kind of not knowing what is going on, as he's just subbed in this game, has shown he's kind of uncomfortable in this game, and not having the synergy with Devour that he needs, and Devour, again, having suboptimal pathing, kind of wasting a lot of time not really getting anything, but Braum is a little out of position here.
Yeah, and the Red Buff Slow's coming through. Profitex here to shut him down as well with that Nether Grass. They just want to secure this all the way through, but Medea going to get taken down. Hookla with the strategy, the ADC strategy of standing still and auto-attacking over and over. Now Soul, Devour, both going to get pulled in by that gravity well. Devour, he is going to be split into Bloblets. And
now I want to see this kill going over to Ashe, but Victor takes it. The greedy Victor. The reason I say I wanted on Ashe is because she's the only physical damage threat, so it's nice to have your damage kind of like your AD damage boosted more, as you know they're already building like, oh my, Ivern.
Whoa, okay, yeah, a little bit slow on that micro there after the flash in. He needed to throw that root collar immediately, but he didn't want to hit the Malzahar passive.
Yeah,
he wanted that auto, but he didn't have the ranged autos anymore. But Profitex now in no man's land. Who needs ranged autos when you as Viggy can just flash right into melee range?
And Braum decided he wanted to become a top laner now. And I mean, they're so ahead, he can decide he's a top laner now.
Yeah, I mean,
he's getting a little bullied around, but he's doing fine.
There's Slicing Maelstrom going in under the turret. Oh man, the Glacial Fissure coming through, able to save his life, and he gets out clean. King,
no, Braum has Ignite. I wanted to just walk up and ignite it, but his team is coming to secure it, so I think he's just going to let him have it.
No reason to take that risk. King now just all alone. He might be able to try to stall him out, though. Oh, here's the arrow coming down the lane, though, from the base downtown. There it is. Solely over to Ashe in its entirety. Not a single assist on that kill. What a way to get a kill.
Yeah, and I mean, I wanted kills on the Ashe. Now we get it. I also like how the Ashe itemized for the Essence Reaver early on, as she's looking for more poke from the W, and also more arrows to just make more picks around the map
Harbo
as their head. But
walking into maybe a bad situation here. Medea going to get stood up on that gravity well, but the Monsoon is just going to heal him up the whole time. Harbo he was threatening to flash over the wall, but he doesn't even have it. He was bluffing the whole time, and he goes down to Medea, and a good roam from Profitix to finish it off.
yeah, I really don't know what he was
Interesting.
doing there, as his team wasn't. No one was nearby. Ivern wasn't on that side of the map even. Ash was just getting back from lane with Braum. I mean, there was really no support for him. So without his ultimate and summoners, he can't even 1v2, let alone 1v3. So I don't. That was
Yeah.
kind of just a misplay there.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the path that he took. He was threatening to flash the wall, and we saw this, the scrying orb come out. Oh man, I'm going way back. Farsight totem. We popped from Medea over the wall just in case he flashed so they didn't break vision. But he didn't even have it. He was still minutes away. He still doesn't have it at this moment even. So yeah, it was just kind of a weird, really weird play all around. And I mean, if Team Reverse Boosting keeps doing stuff like that, then I think Team Eternal might have a lot of hope to come back in this game. But you can't really call it either way. It is looking a bit dicey for
Are
Team
they
Eternal
rotating
down
for a
bottom
dive in
now.
the mid lane?
It looks like it could be split between either mid or bottom, but mid is the one of choice. There's the Malzahar passive going down, everything coming down on him all at once, and he will just fall to pieces.
Nautilus
almost
is tanking the
immediately.
tower, not even caring.
He didn't even lose a quarter of his health hardly. He's just going to walk it off. He'll come back. He'll take it down, secure that last hit as well. Medea taking a beating from Harbo. Just that singular laser.
The Kennen was walking down. He was looking like he wanted to get something, but he currently has teleport. He should really just be sticking top lane and just getting ready for a TP flank. And I mean, he didn't even get top tower while Nautilus was bot lane without TP. So the Kennen with teleport is just walking down here for a flank. And Nautilus's TP is coming up soon, so he might even answer it. But it's not going to be up for another 8 seconds or so. So maybe this is the very narrow window of opportunity, but it looks like he might even be caught out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge amount of risk. There's no vision here. Harbo caught on the front lines, though, and he's just going to get blown up. Devour going to get out in the end as King enters from the backside of the fight with a slicing Maelstrom. That's 2 members down. Hoodclaw fell to this Kennen all alone, and he takes down the duo. And that was enough to break the siege. They get 3 kills. Now they're looking to push mid. The Nautilus really wanted to just walk into all of them there, but decides against it ultimately. Now this is a good push from Team Eternal in the mid lane, and they want this tier 1 down to half. They've got the team to do it, but not if Vayne gets snared under turret. She just takes a shot then, though. It took a long time. She held out on hitting anyone to make sure that she wouldn't just instantly die to the turret.
Yeah, so they don't really get anything from that, but they do stop the siege and relieve a little bit of pressure. So hopefully they're going to recall and set up wards to maybe find another pick. Now, I think that the Kennen walking down was a mistake, as he had teleport, so he could have just teleport flanked onto a ward. But the Kennen did come out eventually, and still got the slicing Maelstrom he was looking for, with, you know, the Hextech Proto Belt for extra damage, AoE. They actually won a fight, so I mean, showing that they can actually still have a hand in this game, not just getting rolled over and killed.
Yeah, certainly inspiring from Team Eternal if they are able to pull this back. I've got to say, 7,000 gold in the hole still, and only 22 minutes into this game, and they have a mountain to climb, but those are the first steps uphill that they need to be taking to really be able to pull this back. King in that sort of position, though,
Stroll.
really dicey. Soul, no, walking into the wrong neighborhood with no vision whatsoever. Just gets picked, and Team Reverse Boosting were willing to take a single pick like that and turn it into a Baron or some larger objective attempt. They might do it here, but now Harbo maybe overextending, but Profitix cannot follow up with Viggy on the side. Now in a really bad position. Devour hooked back in, locked down, split to Bloblets, and his team just cannot save his life here. There's no hope for this jungler, and maybe that one is the pick that Team Reverse Boosting wants, and it looks like they will be pulling back to at least threaten this Baron as well. Their vision is immaculate right now, and they've swept every nook and cranny and taken everything off the map for Team Eternal.
Yeah, something I want to point out is Malzahar does not have nearly as much just instantaneous burst as his W now has
Yeah.
a cooldown between casts. So, but Kennen, oh my lord.
King, yeah, really looking to make it happen. Harbo ulting in the wrong direction. It still costs the Nethergrass to take him down, but he does fall anyway. Medea in the front line looking to duel all 3 members over here from Team Reverse boosting at once, and he's really pulling it off. He's trying to get out desperately. The concussive blows are stacking, but he slips out the back door. Soul is caught. He's caught right in the lobby there, not able to get out quite as cleanly. But Medea, with the hero play, only gets a kill, nearly 2, could have been 3 if he had gotten that second. Honestly, it was a really big snowball effect there. Ultimately, a really dicey fight for Team Eternal, but it was on a knife's edge the whole time. There's still, oh man, there's still 8,000 behind. That was even a little bit of an advantageous fight for Team Reverse boosting, but
sadly Medea there wasn't able to just get one target after, you know, the initial kill that he had. So he was just choosing between the 2 tanks and kind of like this one or that one, this one or that one. But we saw how much kiting and how much damage he was able to throw out. And just imagine, after he's getting his Infinity Edge, after he's getting more of those crit items, this Vayne is going to be smacking hard. And I mean, Vayne is one of the best tank shredders. And while her team is very heavy in AP, and you see a lot of magic resist items built, that Vayne, the 80 threat...
walking completely into the wrong neighborhood here, gets taken extremely low, but not quite going to be able to finish it. Soul
walking into the Nautilus!
Side, but yeah, he can't find an exit here. Gets ignited, knocked up with the concussive blows. Or not by the concussive blows, but rather the depth charge. Now Devour caught out all alone as well. Just
oh my... And now they're pressuring Baron.
And yeah, this is going to be big for Team Reverse boosting. This could be the very small play that they really needed to push for this Baron full on.
And I don't think that they can fight this, but a little team fight breakdown before this fight starts. The Malzahar made a misplay with that
W.
I don't
think we're going to have time. Here's just like Maelstrom going in, but he just gets blown up immediately. No one else can even respond before he goes down. They get the 1 kill onto Hoodclaw for Medea.
But pulling off
the final hour ended. They could just kill this Vayne. There's no repercussions here. The Trigger Seed pops him, and yeah, they do have to pull off in the end. Daisy, it looks like he may have died there during that, so they don't really have a crazy good tank, as Viggy is kind of low on health and mana. But I mean, that's not going to deter him. Yeah, they did stop the Baron, and they only lost 1 for it. It was even a 1-for-1 in the end, or no, 2-for-1 rather, as Medea did end up going down as well. So slightly negative trade for Team Eternal, but making those types of attempts is really crazy when you're down this far, this late in the game, or I guess this early in the game rather. They still have such a mountain to climb. It's still 8,000 gold difference right now. They are keeping it dead even, though, and I guess that is something they can be commended for.
Yeah. A few things, though. In the fight that happened before the Baron attempt, the Malzahar is not using his abilities before his ultimate. As Malzahar, once you press ulti, you are also stuck with your opponent. And they are taking damage from whatever is hitting them besides that. But Malzahar has a lot of damage over time abilities. You want to drop the Malefic Visions. You want to drop the Void Swarm beforehand. You know, poke out with the Call of the Void, but I mean,
oh man,
looks like a DC from Braum too.
Oh, there's a pause. Oh no, that's such a bad time for King.
And the Slicing Maelstrom, they paused without. Oh no, this is actually very unfortunate. They paused it right when the cannon goes in.
Yeah, and it looks like he's still able to make it. He's still
maybe, but they have time to prepare, to mentally prepare to respond to this cannon ultimate.
Yeah.
That's actually very, very, very unfortunate. I don't think I've seen much like that before.
And the Braum RXY did reconnect, so we should be getting back into this in just a second. But for right now, like you said, mental preparation, really hopefully from both sides here, is RXY is way off in the top lane right now. He's not anywhere near his team, so his disconnect actually would mean almost nothing for this team fight, as he would still be here incredibly late regardless. But here's the on pause coming through, and action should be breaking out very quickly. Protobelt not even burned from King, but he still gets 2 good stuns. Catching out the tank to the front line, Devour in the back. The redemption comes down from Dusty Marshmallow, going to be able to heal up Hoodclaw, and now Devour's just all alone. So is Viggy, but he's not going anywhere anytime soon. This Vayne just not packing enough punch quite yet. RXY showing up to the fight a little bit late,
The
but
Braum
fashionably
ultimate.
so. There's a Glacial Fissure, like you just said. Finishing off that kill onto Soul, and now, once again, Team Reverse Boosting able to just pull back cleanly. And now they're looking for this Baron once again, or maybe just a push on the top side. Honestly, that's probably the safer bet at this point. This tier 2 is right here. Yeah, Viggy prepping this wave for just that occasion. While the rest of
The
his
Vayne
team...
has a lot of damage though, so they don't respect her. She could get a kill or 2. Oh,
Ooh, that was a really
Nice.
close hook. That would have 100% secured that tower, I feel. Now, Profitix is on the side, nearly has his flash, still has his ulti. Medea going to get locked up and instantly deleted by Harbo. And that's just how the cookie crumbles
Yeah.
with this composition. With this Nautilus snare, with any CC versus a Victor, you're just going to get deleted.
and I mean, Vayne should have left that tower because now that she's dead, they can pressure more towers. They could maybe even go for the Baron.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're going to keep pressuring the tower. And if Vayne was alive right now, if she just conceded top tower, said, okay, we're not going to be able to defend this. Let's just pull back. She could maybe fight this right here. They could maybe win a fight right here.
Yeah,
Because look
I mean,
how low they are.
King has
But now-
all the tools in the toolbox available. Devour diving into the backside. Harbo gets instantly deleted. Viggy in no man's land right now, but he's incredibly tanky with all the shields, but he doesn't have much left behind it. King slips out. Devour running for his life, and he's going to be able to save it. That's another kill coming through. They make it 4 for the side of Team Eternal, and now Medea shows back up, finding Dusty Marshmallow, looking to make it a 5th. As King trying to get the lockdown desperately with the stuns. There it is, and that is a clean, very close to clean ace for Team Eternal. What an engage. It took
my
absolutely
gosh.
everything they had, but now they're going to go for the Baron off of the back of this. Soul has really big shields, and Devour is still pretty healthy. The Monsoon, that sure helps as well. And I feel as though they're going to be able to pick this up pretty decisively here. It's kind of dicey.
Well, the
Soul,
Devourer might-
wait, Soul shielded himself. Okay, no, the Bloblets, those should live without too much of an issue. Yeah, there it is. He even gets a smite to top it off at the end. And Team Eternal, they break the siege. They break this game wide open all of a sudden. Still 7,000 in the hole. They still have such a mountain to climb again. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but
Yeah.
it's still true. Every single time a fight goes well for them like that. But the Baron, that's just something else, even beyond the raw gold value. Just the buff on its own and the map control it can give you can be absolutely massive, and that could be the turning point of this game. There's still, let's say they just catch up in turrets to Team Reverse Boosting. They're going to take a lead off of that. Just ever so slightly, Team Eternal, because they have not taken a single turret here. There are so many up for the taking in the next few minutes. If they get another fight similar to that off of a good Kennen flank and Protobelt, then that could completely break this game. But right now,
Yeah.
the Baron is the focus for Team Reverse Boosting.
Yeah, the Vayne getting picked off just before the fight. Imagine if the Vayne was there during the fight.
Yeah.
I mean, she just respawned at the end of the fight to clean it up. If the Vayne was there, that would have been... I don't even think the Malzahar would have died. It would have been a clean, 0 for 5. It was a beautiful Kennen engage. And now, like you said, this game has swung around. They're back in it. Only a 6,000 gold lead. And even later in the game, that's much closer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Vayne is scaling up. She's getting big. She has a lot of gold in the bank. She has almost as much as the Ashe does. And, I mean, if you consider how many towers the Ashe has gold from, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, plus also considering how close the CS is as well. A lot of that is really for this Vayne coming off of that single Baron, and also all of the shutdowns that she's been able to garner in a lot of these fights. And I do appreciate that Team Eternal is just kind of biding their time now. They're kind of on a clock with this Baron buff. They want to get a fight. If in order for them to have the biggest chance of getting back into this game, but it's not absolutely necessary for them to have this Baron buff as they just showed before. So they got that ace for one without the Baron. Then they took the Baron off of that, but they're waiting until they have all of those tools at their disposal once again. And if we hop over to King for a second, he has 80-ish seconds, so just a bit over a minute left before his flash rather is back up. Having that flash on that cannon is absolutely massive and maybe pivotal for Team Eternal to continue winning these fights. It's an incredibly long timer to be like stretching yourself out across for the rest of this game, but if that's what it takes for Team Eternal to win, then I'm glad that that's the steps that they're trying to take.
Yeah, and we see that the Ashe has the Mercurial Scimitar, so that Malzahar, his flash is coming up soon as well, will not be able to flash ultimate the Ashe anymore. He needs to just look for an ulti on one of the tanks or someone who's diving really far in or mispositioned, because he can't just get that Ashe anymore. That DPS is not a target for him. And also, I touched on this a little before, the Malzahar not using his abilities properly has been a really big issue, as a lot of damage comes from that Void Swarm and the Malefic Visions. I mean, even after the Malzahar nerf set came through, he still needs to be doing it properly.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
just popping, just the Nether Grasp when he could easily get free abilities off has been a huge misplay. The Nautilus.
Oh no, Death Charge burned, and they want this engage really badly, and they do get it eventually. It costs them absolutely everything, though. Devourer is able to diffuse the situation to some extent. It burns 2 summoners, actually, and he didn't burn anything.
Yeah,
So
but
this
they lose
could
the Vayne.
still be an opening. Yeah, they definitely lost the Vayne. They still might lose this fight, but King has something to say. He's into the backline with that Slicing Maelstrom onto absolutely everyone. Harbo will fall on the side, and this Ashe is down as well. Suddenly, this could be a wash for Team Eternal as they find another good set of picks. In spite of their ADC going down, she's just the juicy bait on the end of this line that Team Eternal is just reeling in. These last 2 fights in a row, again without the Baron buff, they make it happen. Cannon Flash is expended once more, and it seems like they absolutely need that to really make these fights happen, but it is absolutely delivering for them. The gold lead is securely at 6,000 gold now, and they could reduce that way more. Again, if their ADC just survived, how much different would these fights be? It was still a 2-for-1 in their favor in spite of their Vayne, their really big focus, their only non-AP damage threat going down immediately. It was a similar situation as soon as that Kennen got in, and they didn't have to spend nearly as many resources. I feel like reverse boosting is getting a bit desperate with some of these engages. They threw 2 or 3 ultimates just onto that Vayne alone.
And I want to touch on a few things right here. The Ivern actually decided to get a Sight Stone instead of upgrading his jungle item to a Tracker's.
Interesting.
So I don't... If he gets a Ruby Sight Stone, all the active items he has will be even stronger. So it's an adaptation that I haven't seen too much.
Oh.
That
Prophetic, sorry to cut you off there. Prophetic's did quite a lot of damage to Hoodclaw there, though. Not going to result in anything, but back to your point, yeah. Ruby Sight Stone, of course, reduces active item cooldown. Very powerful.
Yeah, so he's gonna get more, redemptions, more lockets, and how does it work with the Zizira? I think he can just replace it sooner.
Yeah.
It doesn't have 2 at once for a very short amount of time, I believe.
Yeah, you can already do that with just the base item cooldown. So with item cooldown reduction on top of that, yeah, that's definitely something that it is viable for.
Is that how the interaction works? I thought it removes the first one.
Nope, you can
have 2?
I believe you can have 2 of them down. I've done it a few times
it lasts for
myself.
120, and it has a 120 cooldown, so you definitely need some item cooldown reduction.
I think they may have changed that. I think it lasted for 180 and had a 120 cooldown before. So like on paper you could have it down for like another 30 or 40 seconds. I mean up to a minute obviously, but in most situations like an extra 30 or 40 seconds I believe you could have 2 of them down. That would certainly be interesting if you have 2 Zizarats down.
Something that I was gonna finish my point though.
Yeah.
He built the Sightstone, but he also has a warding totem. So not getting the sweeper to deny vision, it's actually getting more vision and more vantage points for the Kennen to find his flank. So I think that not having the second sweeper on the Ivern is a really big problem right here.
Oh, Soul walking into the wrong neighborhood, but he just slips out, no problem, really. This Baron is back up on the map again, and the Elder Drake is up as well, and both of these are major points of contention for team reverse boosting. Oh,
And
Devour.
Harbo.
Yeah, maybe finding Harbo out here, but takes quite a lot of damage. He's going to heal up with some of those blobs on the ground. Just a little bit as, well, Team Eternal gets a bit of ward clearing in.
You know what I really dislike right now?
Mhm.
Viggy has been with his team constantly while he has teleport, and he's
Yeah.
not getting picks from it.
Yeah,
He should be pressuring, bot lane, and his team should be grouping top for the inhib. They should be pushing them down at their gates, but since they're all grouped together, they're able to push out the side lanes. People are having to recall and go push out the side lanes as well, and it's just getting stalled out. They need to be executing a 4-0-1 right now to try to pressure them out.
yeah, it
Because-
definitely feels like it would be a better decision here.
Yeah.
They're really desperately wanting to get this Baron, I feel. And they're putting too much emphasis on the Baron here even. And it looks like they will be starting it up here.
This
But,
is really risky. The
I mean,
cannon flank has
yeah.
been disgusting many times before.
No flash.
They see
but
it's low.
It's pretty close quarters. They
Oh?
need to be getting in there though. The Zac just can't respond, but this could be the fight afterwards. Now, Red King in the front lines, going to be able to get the kill onto the Braum. Viggy taking a ton of damage as well. Soul a bit caught out, but, well, does not have that Monsoon, actually won't be able to heal up too well. Viggy comes out of the GA, taken incredibly low by this Malzahar, who had just burned the Nethergrass. Devour, able to slip out as well with a flash forward from Harbo, actually. Big cooldowns burned across the board, and ultimately not too much comes from that. A 1-for-1 in the end. But the top tier 1 actually fell on the backside now. 2 turrets in the bank for Team Eternal, and they want to make it 3. They have a huge opening here. And they're going to be able to do that, and this gold lead is just shrinking ever so slightly. It's still 7,000 somehow. It just keeps growing back. It keeps ballooning back up. But then again, that's also about 1/10 of the gold.
The Vayne is gonna. Oh my gosh.
Oh, no,
wait,
Devour.
Devour.
Uh-oh, that...
If they got the Vayne, that would have been a little worse, but now they don't even have a smite, so.
Yeah, now this Elder pretty much going to be secure here, it feels like, in its entirety.
Yeah.
And I think if nothing else for Team Eternal on that kill around the Baron pit before, you can't say anything else positive about it. They were able to pull off that fight successfully without the cannon flash that time. He just walked up with his old, popped the proto belt, popped the hourglass as well. He didn't have to flash or TP to get a flank or anything off. He was still very much effective just running to the front line. So I think that they should be keeping that in the back of their mind, like, okay, well, it might not be as good, but it still can work out if we need to force something with this cannon ult, even if we don't have the flash, because that seems to be something they're very much playing around. Like I said before, there is no time left on Devour's respawn timer here, and this will be the brute force play, I feel. There it is, the
cannon.
engage. Cannon flash into the backline once again, and this Ashe is just getting chased off. RXY kiting away, running away, actually. Very, very close to death. Viggy will fall in the end, condemned away, but a good secure auto from Medea in the end, and what a fantastic fight again from Team Eternal. Again, just playing around this one form of engage. They have the Zac going in at the exact same time as the cannon. Their shot calling and synergy is exactly where it needs to be, because if one of them was disrupted by just even a few seconds, then one of them will almost absolutely be dead and the engage falls flat. But they've done this 3 times in a row now, even 4 if you count that Baron Pit engage as well. Now this is the opening, this is the time where they have to make something of it, though.
Yeah, I don't know how this cannon is engaging and getting it off so well when there's a Zanya's, a QSS, plus 2 lockets and 2 redemptions. How is he getting these successful engages with all these items that should be countering the cannon?
Yeah, I mean, they just have no time to react when he just he hops in his E and his little ball lightning and runs right at them. Proto Belt Flash, the burst is just huge. The reaction time on the item actives are just not there, evidently, for Team Reverse Boosting, and still looking good for them. A bit ugly for Team Eternal at this point. And, I mean, it's an 8,000 gold lead nearly. It's 7.5. It still somehow keeps growing for Team Reverse Boosting, but they are running out of sources of gold. The reason that it grew there
I want to make
really...
a...
Okay. Go
Sorry.
ahead.
Okay, quick note. Vayne went for QSS. Now, I think that that's good, but I'm also kind of conflicted at the same time, is that does not block the Nautilus ultimate, and Nautilus has shown that he really likes to throw that ulti on her.
Yeah.
What I'd really, really like to see, I don't know if this is the best choice, but this would be very fun to see, would be Edge of Night on the Vayne instead of QSS.
Yeah, I can
As
see that.
you can block the Nautilus's ulti with it, so you just pop it before you go in the fight. It requires less, you know, I'm going to just put it this way. It requires less skill and less reaction. As you pop it before the fight, you block what you can with it, while QSS is all reactionary based.
Oh, here's
So it's
another
easier to use,
attempted
and-
flank. Harbo
Oh.
caught out in the front line, and there's the slicing maelstrom again, right through that big carry of the Victor. RXY caught out in the front lines now as well, getting stunned up all the way home, and he's not going to be able to make it out in the end. Medea wants to push this further. He has the QSS. He could have cleansed 2 CCs there, but just doesn't pull it off. Regardless, though, Team Eternal breaking the siege again from a slight misposition. The Victor didn't even get to ult. And now this is going to be at least a turret picked up for Team Eternal here, I feel. There's almost no way that this goes poorly for them, I feel.
Yeah, this game has just become a very close game, as the gold lead is about the same, but both teams have much more gold and are getting full items, so that doesn't matter as much anymore. And
Whoa,
now
King. Fearlessly tanking up the turret, still has the Hourglass available, Proto Belt's back up as well. I mean, he doesn't even care if he's at risk of dying. He has a million ways to get out
the
of it.
ZZ Rot,
Wait, I thought they
the ZZ Rot,
They didn't kill the Zizzarat? I thought they killed that on the way out.
the ZZ Rot backdoors an inhib turret. That's actually huge.
That is...
Wait a minute.
Wow, that's something.
No inhib turrets anymore.
Yeah, there's
They're all
nothing
bare.
Team Eternal needs to be backing right about now if they want to get back to their base to defend all of their open inhibs that you just noted. They should have killed that. They should have killed that Zizzarat like 110%.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. You literally lose 2 seconds. They didn't gain anything with those 2 seconds, and they lost a turret for
Yeah.
it. That's really
And-
unfortunate for Team Eternal. Big oversight there.
Yep. And now the Baron is coming up soon, and they're pushed back into their base because they have no inhib towers anymore. You know, and if they just leave their base, that's 3 inhibs down, and you know, even if they win a fight, they probably wouldn't even be able to end with all the super minions. And
Yeah,
Nautilus
it
is
would
finally off by himself with the TP up. As long as his team, as long as Nautilus's team, reverse boosting, does not get caught out by the cannon, then they will slowly win this.
Yeah, and there's the type of kiting that we need to be seeing. You just saw it on the very edge of your screen there. The cannon walks up, Victor pops down that laser with the Rylai's, just completely denies that engage, chunks him to half as well. I want to see this cannon teleport at some point, though, because we have not seen this cannon use teleport for tens of minutes. I don't even know when the last time he used the teleport was, but none of these fights in the last 15-20 minutes have been made possible by this teleport at all. It's just never been on cooldown. Really want to see him use that at some point. They are getting closer and closer to having the right wards to make those types of flanks work. But it is going to get much more difficult to do that around this Baron now.
Yeah, and we see both teams getting almost full items. Only, you know, the support and the ADCs aren't fully built. Or no, the Vayne is fully built. The Ashe is still an item down.
Yeah, and that's
How
just,
is
that's
the
just
Ashe
crazy.
a full item down?
Well, she's sitting on 3,200 gold at the moment, so she has.
Yeah,
the
that
full
would
item.
explain that.
She just hasn't been back in a little while to actually spend that money. I guess she was just saving up to buy the item in its entirety. Maybe she was sitting on a control ward like a good ADC would. like a really good ADC would.
I would sell my control ward.
Yeah, no,
I feel no
definitely
shame.
would
As a
too,
support
but-
main, I would sell my control ward.
Yep, does look like she is going to be backing now, though, with 3,500 gold, and, well, she picks up, I think, an entire Infinity Edge there. But this fight could break out here nonetheless. Position has been given up by Team Reverse Boosting all of a sudden to get onto this Baron. Eternal is just going to be able to sweep this out, and I mean, there's not really going to be.
The Nautilus is TPing in from behind.
Oh,
they're getting
yeah, this
flanked.
is going to be a big flank if it works out. The fight, the engage comes through from King on the front line, though, and he blows up the Ashe once more. Viggy just left alone in the back line. Nobody even cares that he exists right now. Medea might have to start carrying in a second, though, having to QSS away. Gets out cleanly. Harbo extremely low, now taken down. RXY falls over. Harbo finally does fall there, and Viggy is the last remaining member. You can't split the engage if you let the enemy team decide when the engage happens. It's so risky. It does not pay off at all for Team Reverse Boosting there.
That cannon is so big right now. Just
Still at 5 items, 5.5 items, only sitting on the Haunting, guys. Once he gets to Leandries, then anyone that has any semblance of tankiness is going to die even faster. This Victor is going to die even more quickly. That's incredible for for Team Eternal right now, and they want to make this even more. They don't just want the fight. They don't just want the teleport out of this Nautilus. They want to take his inhib turret. They want to break open this base right now. Looks like they're going to be able to barely do it.
oh no, they're not.
No, they're not even.
And they might even lose Devour here. You know,
He
they got
needs-
very
he
greedy.
has a
They could have just went for a
splash.
Baron, but they're gonna
Yeah,
lose their
this
jungler
is-
going for an inhib turret.
Yeah, that's not good at all for Team Eternal.
They should have just went for the
Overstepping
Baron.
there. Yeah, I agree. They would have burned that way faster, and the response time was so much higher on this. Would have been so much higher on the side of Team Reverse Boosting had they just gone for that Baron. Pretty big risk either way, though. I've got to say they did take the more risk, less reward option, though. Which I find that really hard to agree with. Now suddenly, Eternal on the back foot again in spite of another good fight, and this gold lead is just not budging. Still 7k.
This game.
But it's been 7k, to be fair, for about 10 minutes now. So it's
Yeah.
meaning less and less as every single minute goes by, and every time this gold just shifts up 1,000 gold on each side. Before, the 7,000 gold was a tenth of all of the gold on the side of Team Reverse Boosting. Now it's even less. Now they're nearing 90k with still a 7,000 gold lead. The percentages are shifting, and it's getting less and less favorable for Team Reverse Boosting, and more scarier and scarier. And I did mention after the last game how they might want to look at trying to close the games a little bit more quickly, and they couldn't this time. They could not find the opening that they needed to really close out the game.
They left the Braum behind. He wants to join his team, but no one will go to him. But yeah, they just get a free Drake. They
yeah,
got so
this-
greedy going for the inhib turret. Team Eternity and Eternal, sorry, and the Zac dies because of it. They lose the dragon. They lose an inhib, and now they're pressuring Baron with the dragon. While it is risky, they do have the dragon advantage. 4 Drakes buffed up Infernal.
They should not be on the
They're
bottom side of
elder.
the map right now. This is
Yeah.
not good for Team Eternal.
And they melt it.
You don't bother
Double
clearing-
mountains
Oh man.
times 2. That's 4 times Mountain Drake. Plus, Mark of the Elder is going to be doing how much damage? 45 plus 45 times 4? What? So that's going to
A
be
lot of
around
damage.
200 something damage?
Yeah.
Insanely high amounts of damage. Yeah, like, even the Braum can do that damage.
Yeah.
Like,
Just that
that
damage
dragon
on
is
its
so
own.
strong.
Yeah, this is one heck of a stack. Somehow, in spite of all of those numbers that you just threw around and how incredibly high they are and how effective they are, Team Reverse Boosting has still been put on the back foot a few times, even for just a moment, by Team Eternal's really stellar team fighting with this Kennen, and the Flash is inching ever closer to being off of cooldown again. I would like to see him switch to cooldown boots to maybe have that up a little bit more often, as that's the engage down now all of a sudden for reverse boosting. But similarly so, as this elastic slingshot from Zac is now down as well. Not able to follow through on that. And man, if they just find one opening, this game will completely flip, and heck, it might just end. But I do like that reverse boosting is taking the slow road here, and they're looking to just take this inhib. Although even more openings, even more risk. The depth charge onto the backline, onto King. Actually, as the focus this time, as Devour's incredibly low. He has almost no health, but he does not go down through all the shields. Like you said, King on the backline with the re-engage. Viggy just completely blown up. And reverse boosting just not able to make it happen. They lose their ADC in the process as well. And with these minions going to get cleaned up in the mid lane, there's not really much risk for Team Eternal for a few more seconds here.
53 minutes in.
Oh man, what a game.
This is going to be a long one. Buckle down, boys.
And it's not every game that you can look at it at 53 minutes and say, okay, this game is going to go way longer. So just be ready for that. Like, that does not happen very often. What a game from both of these teams. 29-27 now, by the way. 9-5 in turrets. It's close in so many metrics, but the metrics that is not close in is Dragon and Baron right now. And those are the two ones that matter quite a lot at this point in the game, and they're not going to get any closer at this rate. Oh, Harbo maybe in a bad spot here, but Devour has no vision, not able to do anything about it whatsoever.
This game is just madness. I mean, we see this Kennen getting amazing re-engages, and like it looked like that fight might have been the one for, you know, reverse boosting, but then the Kennen just going in, Team Eternal wins the fight, and then what are they supposed to do? I mean, the Ashe is getting picked off every time, and the QSS she's not getting the stun off, and I mean, like, she's not even dying to the stun, she's just dying to the damage.
Yeah.
I think that she might need just, like, a Maw or something, or maybe, like, yeah, I think she just needs a Maw or something there, because she's getting bursted, but then she wouldn't have any lifesteal. I mean, this Ashe just needs Braum to protect her.
Yeah, she needs like 5 Brahms to protect her at this point. I don't think the one Braum is really going to be enough if she ends up getting caught out. I think the one potential saving grace, which is incredibly low percentage, is just flinging an Ashe arrow, blowing up that Kennen either before the
pause
fight,
coming out,
or
making this even longer.
Man, yeah, or just completely cutting him off as he's trying to start off the engage in the first place. But both of those very much low percentage, especially with the situation that this Ashe has been in, where the team is not really looking for an engage that the Ashe is looking to facilitate. They're just kind of trying to find their own engage with Viggy in the front line, and then afterwards they want to follow up on that very slow and steady, but they can't. There is no slow and steady for Team Eternal. They have no chill in these fights, and they are just pulling the trigger as soon as they see an inkling of an opening. And look at this, RXY walks up, loses a quarter of his health, even through the Unbreakable, just to a handful of autos, really, from the Kennen and Vayne. And yeah, Soul taken low, looks kind of bad, but you can just walk right back to the fountain and heal up. They do lose the inhib for this, but the mid inhib respawns at the same time, but only for a matter of seconds in the end. What a game. What a game. This is incredibly high pressure right now for both of these teams. They have to make this happen right here, right now, it feels like. And maybe this could have been said multiple times over, but you're not knocking at the Nexus and not expecting to either win or lose the game at that point off of a team fight, depending on which way it goes. And King not having any teleport points that are worth considering, not having that flash for a few more seconds, at least, about 70 seconds, so still quite a while on that.
And yeah, I mean, every time the cannon flashes up, you see him burn it, go in, and then they win a fight. It's just every 5 minutes they win a fight. But
Yeah.
in between that is when they get pressured down. And we'll have to see if something's going to be forced here, and if the cannon can do it without his ulti. And
Oh,
looks like
there's
they
the
found
catch
Ashe.
onto Hoodclaw. In the end, he burned the QSS and the flash. Tries to get away, but you cannot escape the Malzahar when you have nothing left. Medea in the front line, but just speeds right away. Repositioned all the way behind and then in front of the Nautilus. No chill whatsoever from Team Eternal as they pulled the trigger and they just go absolutely all in immediately.
But they lose a tower.
They lose a Nexus turret for it, but I think with 3 kills, oh,
They can't end. There's too many minions. There's no waves that are pushed in. So they can't end
They're gonna
off of
need to do
these
it again.
timers. But it is possible that they clear the minion waves enough, and then they send some people to Baron while the death timers are still... Like, the Baron's gonna respawn before the members of,
reverse boosting.
reverse
yeah.
boosting. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, there's a lot to think about this game. Team names.
Oh, my head is spinning.
Maybe the last thing that you should be putting the utmost importance on.
I mean, it's pretty important, the team names. These teams have both put on a great show. I'll say that for the...
Yeah, definitely. If nothing else, for Team Eternal right now, one of their inhibs did respawn. So even though their Nexus turret is really low, and actually now completely dead, open Nexus here, 2 inhibs down. They can pressure this Baron because this Malzahar can just solo hold, but they need to do this fight. They need to get this fight with only 4 members.
The Janna ulted them away.
Oh, they have Habbo though. Oh man, instantly deleted by this Vayne. And Medea's pulled back in for a moment, but Daisy just crit down.
Oh my gosh, they're
coming
base.
in. They're trying to
No,
just brute force this victory.
He can't.
I don't know about this. Profi
No.
can't kill him. The arrow coming through from the Ashe
No.
in the end. The creeps are going to be clear here. Viggy is going to die. Guaranteed to this Vayne. 2 shots. That is half his health gone. That's all the time he needs. It was worth a shot from Team Reverse Boosting, but it just doesn't pan out for them in the end. Inhibs will be respawning pretty soon. But it looks like Reverse Boosting might be going back to the Baron. They don't quite have the vision control satisfactory enough for them to really go for it, though. They're not going to go for it in the end.
I started having flashbacks there from that
Wow.
Nautilus. So if he actually sold his items and maybe went like full AD attack speed, he could have won right there. Probably not the most optimal choice, but
Yeah, because at that point, then you're
you're committed
what
to
if
it.
Yeah, you
Now you are officially AD Nautilus. There's no turning back. If it doesn't work,
basically, because
you are staying.
yeah, there's no way. You either win the game or you end up as AD Nautilus for the rest of the
You
game.
win the game or you lose trying.
Yeah, or you lose tankiness, because even if you do sell back those AD items, you've just sold back your items twice now. They don't sell back for near full value. You've lost a lot of gold at this point by
Nautilus
doing
is
that.
sitting on 5,000 gold right now, though.
Yeah.
But this possible
Oh, man.
re-engage? Oh no, it's just gonna be
Not
disengaged.
gonna happen. Something important to note. We keep emphasizing this cannon flash being important for Team Eternal. That fight that they had a little while ago at their Nexus was all without cannon flashing. It's still up. It came up after the fact of that fight happened. And his ultimate is up. The inhibs are now respawning. The bot lane
But
inhib has just
the
come back.
dragon.
Yeah, the dragon
This
is
is
a
the
huge
big
threat.
thing. They can't walk out of their base, or else they're just gonna bum rush the base. And
Well, fortunately, they do
four
have the
dragons?
Baron for the next 3.5 or so minutes. So they do have
oh my
ways
god,
to
they're
get back to
cheesing.
the base.
The John is walking in front.
They're not quite going to be able to finish her off. Though the flashes in a straight line to some effect, and that's going to be enough to, well, encourage Team Reverse Boosting to try and take this fight further. We see Kennen kind of lingering on the side, maybe trying to clear out the waves a little bit, but he has no time. The inhibs are the only thing to stand between this and the Nexus. Habbo caught out on the backside. Kennen flashing in again. He gets right on the back line. The Victor lockdown popped into GA. Viggy has to be the focus for Medea right now, and that will be something he can do. He can finish off this Nautilus, kills off the Victor with a singular auto in between, and that's 2 more kills. This Ashe being routed by the Malefic Visions. And
This game.
Team Eternal break it again. Now only
My
a
head is
1,000 gold
spinning.
difference. Only
It's an hour.
You're in this for the long haul, ladies and gentlemen. If that wasn't clear enough, 61
Oh
minutes into
my.
the game. 34 to 31 now flipped in favor of Team Eternal within 2,000 gold. Like it even matters at this point. Everyone's long at 6 items, or at least they very much should be. Looking at you, RXY on the Braum. Okay, no, he does buy his last item. 600 gold to spare even. Money is just, it's just lingering right now.
And they're doing the Elder Drake, and I think that
They still have the Nether Grasp. They can still make this happen pretty safely. That's a Malzahar
Devour
passive
is getting
down.
chunked though. Vayne
Yeah,
took the path
this
all
is
the way
really
around
bad.
to group up with the team.
King is in dire straits right now, and he's going to get picked off. Devour will not quite go down, though. He will finally in the end. Medea, no QSS to his name, but that's another grasp coming through. The Monsoon keeps him topped off as well, and Dusty Marshmallow limping away with the little bits of health that he has. They contested that without two of their members. Now Dusty Marshmallow falls as well, and this mid push is something that's very much viable. The minions are in a good spot. The inhib turret is marginally low. It's just a bit below half at this point. It has healed quite a lot. It's been about 20 minutes since they've seen the light of that turret.
There's actually a humongous wave bot lane. I think they might just want to rotate down there and go for the bottom turret, even though it is higher health. Although it looks like they're just sticking around mid lane. No, they're splitting actually. Malzahar is going bot lane. Vayne and the John are going to stick mid.
Malzahar can grab that wave very quickly there, and I mean, if we jump over to him real quick, he still has that Baron buff. The Vayne also has the Baron buff. No, they actually group up again.
It's going to wear off in a second, but
Medea nearly having a final hour, and I mean, this might just be the final hour for this. For either of these
the Victor is stepping very far up.
Oh, Habbo nearly died to a single crit. Look at his health bar.
Yeah, I mean, the Victor is stepping very far up, and that Vayne hurts like a truck. This is 63-minute full item Vayne.
Yeah.
She is going to crit for thousands upon thousands of damage with the Ardent Sensor to give more attack speed to her. She's incredibly strong. And honestly, I'm not even sure if I like the Blade of the Ruined King, as Janna is giving her attack speed already.
Yeah.
I think she could even go for like a Bloodthirster for just more damage.
Yeah,
like that would make her more effective against the squishies. She's still gonna shred the tanks. I mean,
but how much do you really care when how much more AD do you need when you can just tumble crit, a single auto, and nearly kill a carry from full health with just that? Like, you don't really need that much more flat AD. And I think if you can weave in that second auto to really just fully finish that off and secure it, it might be more valuable. But I definitely agree with her being more effective against the squishies, but I don't know how much more effective this Vayne really needs to be. She's already a very much potent ADC at this point. It is just min-maxing, though, I've got to say. It's hard.
It's going to be interesting to see.
It's hard to speak at this point, honestly.
Yeah, I'm tired. I'm going to take a nice long bath after this game. But
oh, Habbo, no! Caught out in the front line by Devour. There's the Let's Bounce coming through the flash to just lock him down for even longer. But they're not able to get the kill.
John is going really far up.
Yeah, burnt his flash and ghost in the end. They get everything out of this Victor and change, but it's not enough to kill him off, unfortunately. But that could very easily change. Now with no flash or ghost on the Victor, this next engage could be very much more potent. And the Nether Grasp is just going to be a death sentence for him.
And I mean, there's no towers left on the side of Team Eternal. They have literally no towers, only inhibs and a nexus to their name.
Yeah.
But they are pushing up, knocking on the front doors of Reverse Boosting's base. I mean, this game has been one of the most interesting matches I think I've casted.
Oh, yeah.
Very easy to say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, if you think about it, these are supposed to be silver players.
Yeah.
The coordination that both of these teams have been having in these fights and through their map play and their decision making, their objective control has been incredibly impressive. I mean,
Reverse Boosting's warding has, in these last 2 games, has definitely been something to take note of. Like, if you want a guide to warding, just look at Reverse Boosting's wards when they're looking to take an objective. Around the Baron, around 30 or so, 25, 30 minutes into this game, they had absolutely perfect warding. Like, they had every major warding spot covered, and they had everything swept out to perfection. There are definitely a few hiccups here and there, like the lack of... Oh, actually,
Oh my
might
god,
have to
this
hold
is
that
split.
thought. Yeah, there's a split fight here. Devour diving in, but Viggy is as well. But the Redemption comes down, just completely heals up the Zac. The arrow is thrown down onto the tank. King caught in the backline, not able to run forward. Pops down the Zanyas. Viggy just dies. Medea now popping the final hour after shredding away that tank from the opposite side. He gets stunned up at the front line, and King diving in now falls as well. There's nothing left in the tank.
That's game.
For Team Eternal.
That has to be game.
This absolutely has to be the end of the game. Prophetix would have to make a legendary defense happen here. I don't think that it's going to happen. He falls down as well. And Team Reverse boosting, they break the game at 67.5 minutes.
Oh my god.
What a game. What a series.
Series, yeah. The first game might have looked in favor of, reverse boosting the whole time, but Team Eternal struggled throughout this game, making a legendary comeback. Sadly not gonna close it out with a win, but it was an amazing match, to say the least.
That was the craziest 2-0 I've probably ever seen. That was absolutely insane. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Madness, to say the least. And I mean, that Vayne, that she scaled so hard, and they almost had that game. The last fight, the cannon was split off on the bot side. The Zac initiated without the cannon, and we saw what happens when that cannon isn't able to go and get the ulti. The one fight the cannon isn't able to be in there, that probably would have won them the game too. It's almost heartbreaking to see that after so long.
Man, yeah, I mean that was a struggle for the ages right there. That game was absolutely insane. Somehow, by the way, Vayne didn't even do the most damage in that game. 4,000 damage behind the Victor, and only 5,000 ahead of the Ashe. But what an absolutely insane game from both of these teams. And like I said, oh man, the craziest 2-0 that I've ever casted for L5 is one of the craziest that I've seen, for sure. That was incredible.
Just period.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, on that absolutely insane note, guys, that is going to be it from us for right now. But make sure you keep an eye here on our Twitch, on our Twitter, and on our Discord, because we will be back here. Well, not me and Epic Death Guy. We are going to be taking very long breaks from casting, I would imagine, after that marathon. But we should be seeing a return of Learning Fives tonight. I'm not entirely sure of who's casting off the top of my head, but you guys will have to see when you get here. We have another match. Let me actually pull it up.
Just a few hours from now, because it's been so long.
9 p.m., so about 3.5 hours from now, we have another best of 2 series between PB Patrol and Team Never Late. And that will be right back here on twitch.tv/learning5slol. Be sure to keep an eye on our Discord, the announcements channel, our Twitter feed, or on that Twitch channel if you go ahead and hit the follow button. Well, now actually up above the stream, up in the top right-hand corner. If you'd like to keep up with anything relating to Learning Fives, please go ahead and feel free to follow us on our Twitter and Discord, which are both linked below the stream, to make sure you are kept up to date with exactly when our signups open, when when full VODs come out, when we go live, etc., etc., and so you can see more fantastic action like this. But with that, I will be taking a little bit of a break for casting for a few hours before I have another gig to get to later tonight. So, on that note, I want to thank you all so much for watching, enduring through that nearly 70-minute game, and I do hope you all enjoyed.